On every Saturday, we have sessions on fundamental physics like EMT and classical mechanics, quantum mechanics. In that, we have interactive session and question answer session from research scholars. And on every Sunday, we have expert talks from research scholar or professor on particular physics topics, which are based on their research and their interesting topic. So today we have Mr. Yugen Kulkarni. So let me introduce today's speaker. He is currently teaching in a senior college at Willingdon College, Sangli. He has completed his masters from Shivaji University, Kolhapur in theoretical physics. He has YouTube channel named Thrust of Curiosity. So he is a good in science outreach too. He has cleared many exams and he is a freelance working on freelancer platforms like Check, Coursera, and all. Uh, and most important, he has cleared NET LS 2020. So Yugen is good science communicator and good physicist. So I am inviting you. Over to you, Yugen.
Yeah. Thank you, Darshit, for nice and quick introduction. So, as he stated that every Sunday we have expert talk, but let me tell you, for today, I'm not much expert in this topic. Rather, I found this very interesting. As I will share my screen, and I will tell you how this topic came in my mind and how I started on thinking this topic.
The topic of today's discussion is a source of magnetism in the human body. So, first of all, as I told, as I'm not expert in this, I want we should interact with each other instead of just one way talking. We will have some interactions. At some points, I will ask some questions to you, and such questions will be open to everyone. So you can unmute and uh, tell your opinion or maybe answer to that question. Okay. So on this topic, I had given a lecture 1 year ago. As we have this physics group, we had also one physics group named as Science Forum. So in that, the name of my topic was Physics of Heart. But in this lecture, Darshit proposed me that we should not just let the heart with that. If we cover more, so that it will be better. So instead of just heart, I will talk about other things in our body, which will create some magnetic field also. Okay. So before going to start this topic, I will quickly tell you why this topic is our topic of today's discussion. So I heard one lecture which was about the some science in ancient physics, ancient India. And according to some rules or some what we can say mythologies or don't know they are fact or not. You might have encountered this statement that don't sleep in north-south position. I always been told in my childhood that don't sleep with your legs towards north. So here you can see I have uh, cut the north-south direction. So north is indicating your head and south is your legs. So this is sleeping position. All other positions, south, north, east, west, east, are all possible. I mean, they are allowed in our what we say ancient science, but not north south. So I wondered whether this is really science or not, or it is just a myth or superstition. So I want to know from every one of you whether you have heard this ever or not, or you are listening this first time.
Yes, I heard about it.
So what exactly can you a little bit explain, or it is just same?
Yes, never point your head in south direction when you are sleeping. So
Mhm.
exactly same as you told us.
Okay.
Yeah, I have heard this so many times that don't put your legs on the south and when we are
Right.
sleeping. But never thought about that. It's just
Hmm.
an heard and let it go.
Yeah. So as you both, I'm sure many of us have heard this in their childhood, or we are still listening this. So I heard the scientific reason in one lecture. I guess the lecture was given by Dr. Rajiv Dikshit. Some of you might have heard him. So initially, I was ignorant to this until I heard that lecture, because see, there are so many superstition from ancient days are here in India. So how can we believe as a science student or as a physics student? You should have some reasoning or some logic behind that. Otherwise, a person like me will not believe. Okay. So I heard in that lecture, the Earth is itself a huge magnet, and our body also acts as a tiny magnet. So tiny means in size also and in strength also. Okay. So there is obviously Earth has very strong magnetic field as compared to our bodies. So that was the first point. So then I started realizing, yes, there is some science in this. So still it is not clear. Okay, there is magnet, so what about that? So then there is one more interesting thing. When you yawn or when you want some relaxation after sleep, you stretch your body, right? You have this experience. So stretching gives relaxation, while contraction increases the pressure on our body. So if we are sitting in some bus or car where we don't have enough space to sit comfortably, or we have congested space. So in that case, you can realize that later you will feel more pressure, okay, because of this contraction. But stretching will give you relaxation. So this is your common experience, so no one can deny this. Okay, this is logical. So now we can put this in this situation, uh, magnetic case. Okay, so suppose you can see this arrow, this is indicating north. Obviously the other side will be south. So as we can see on the map, the upper side is always north and lower side is north, south. So the same I have used here, same terminology. So person A is sleeping with his head towards north and legs are towards south, which is forbidden according to this whatever we discussed just now. And then there is some person, let's call B, which is sleeping exactly opposite, and this is allowed in our this ancient facts. In fact, it is called as this is best position to sleep, to get you relaxation for body. Okay, so now what can be the case? Okay, why it is so? So if we relate this condition, like stretching gives relaxation and contraction increases pressure, so we can realize that, so there has to be something with magnetism, because suppose our head is north pole and here is the north pole of earth. So north pole will repel. Here also there is south pole, and in case our legs, or let's say our lower body is acting as a acting as a south pole, then there will be also one kind of repulsive force. So there will be some contraction, there will be some extra pressure put on our body, and that's why they are forbid. This position is forbidden. Okay, consider this another position. The person B is sleeping exactly opposite, in exactly opposite position. Now his south pole, if now we have not decided whether the north pole is at our head or not, but if that is so, then this is some reasonable fact that okay, we cannot sleep with such a kind of situation or such kind of position. So in this case, what is going to happen naturally, north and south are here, so our body will be slightly stretched or pulled toward this side, and our head will be slightly pushed, because now this is north pole and here is it is south pole, so it will be slightly pushed. So we are getting pushed from both sides. So that will give us relaxation, because as we discussed, stretching will give us relaxation. Okay, so the condition, this condition, sleeping position, whether we can sleep in north south direction or not, this is only true if our head is acting like a north pole, and lower body part is acting as a south pole. Okay, so now what is the source of magnetism in our body? So when I realize this, okay, if this is true, then that is true. But okay, why my body will have some magnetism? Where is the source of the magnetism? And that is the starting point of my I would say research, but just searching these things. Okay, so for a while, before going ahead, I want you to think on this. Where can the magnetism will arise? Okay, forget about our body. Let's think about any kind of magnetism. How a magnetism can arise? Movement of electrons create magnetic field. Okay, one answer is there, that in chat box, that movement of electrons is creating magnetic field. Okay, yeah, if you have problem with mic, you can type the answer if possible.
I think when any kind of varying electric field is present, we will get magnetic field.
Okay, so we have got two answers. Okay, yeah, we got third. Magnetism arises when atoms with unpaired electrons orient in one direction and forms magnetic bonds. Okay, so that is kind of paramagnetism arises, right? Okay, when electron moving in orbit, it produces magnetic dipole. Correct. Okay, so we have got answers. So most of them are correct, slightly correct, or partially correct, we can say, and some of are yes, really correct. So there should be something moving or something changing, right? So to arise the magnetic field. So whether they are electron or proton, maybe, because we want current. So if there is current, then there will be associated magnetic field. We all know this. So this is our starting point. So there must be some electric current moving inside our body. If this is so, then only we can get some magnetic field. Okay, so now we will move ahead. So what our heart do? So we all know these two answers, that it purifies blood and circulate the blood. Basically, the purification is done in portion of lungs. But okay, we can relate this with the motion of or the working of heart. Okay, but how does that do? Okay, I'm not talking about the biological phenomena or anything. Okay, I will just quickly tell that. So our impure blood or deoxygenated blood comes to our right atrium. So there are four parts you can see: right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, and left ventricle. Okay, so the path I will tell quickly. So the impure blood comes in the right atrium, and then it moves through this wall. You can see here M. So this is one wall. Through this, it goes to right ventricle. And when it comes here, this wall gets shut. Okay, so that the blood cannot move backwards. Okay, so remember, this is one-way direction. Blood cannot flow backwards. Again, this will go to the lungs. You can see here L. L is a lung. So the blood is going to lung, and there it will get oxygenated, and carbon dioxide will be released there. And again, through this small pores, you can get you can see here in the left atrium, the blood comes back. Again, through this N wall, it comes to left ventricle, and again it goes to all the body. Okay, after this some mechanism. So what is the mechanism? The pumping mechanism occurs first at the upper part, which we are calling atrium, left and right. So it gets contracted. Only that time the blood is going from right atrium to right ventricle. At the same time, the blood is going from left atrium to right ventricle. Left ventricle. and then this will get shuttered, and then the next part, the ventricle part will contract, and then due to this pumping, the blood from right ventricle go to lungs, and from left ventricle it will go to the body, and this cycle goes on. Okay, so for first part, for initial part, the atriums will contract it, and for the next part ventricles are going to contract, and alternatively contraction and relaxation is taking place, and that's how the heart is pumping. So you can relate this with our regular pump which we use to pump the water, right? So if we have to pump the water, what we need, where we get the energy for our regular pumps? We need electricity, na? We need some energy to pump the water.
Yes.
Yeah, so we need some kind of energy. In our regular pump, we need electricity. Here also, in these cases, in the heart also, our heart is also pump which works on electricity. Okay, so there are some pacemaker cells. Okay, in the next slide I will tell you. So in the heart there are cells. Okay, everywhere there are cells here, and these cells will have minus 70 millivolt voltage. So it has negative voltage compared to the other surroundings. Okay, and then there is in the right atrium, there is one cell which is called pacemaker cell. There is bunch of pacemaker cells, and they start sinoatrial node. So these are some biological terms, so we will not go into deep because we just want to know what is the physics behind that. So what they do, they start electric signal. They exchange the ions. So all the voltage is controlled by these three kind of ions. Sodium plus, calcium double plus, so it is plus plus, and potassium plus. So when the cell is negative, it has some negative potential there, then sodium and calcium ions are coming from outer atmosphere inside the cell, and when it becomes plus 10 or something like that, then the potassium ion starts to leave the cell, and again it becomes negative. So I will show that through one graph. You have seen this, you have seen ECG. Okay, so what happens is initially when these atriums are getting contracted, this P wave is starting. So in this time or in this part of the wave, the sodium is coming inside. The sodium ions are coming inside the cell, because inside there is negative, so it wants to go to some positive side. So sodium ions are coming in. Okay, so after a certain voltage, let's say from minus 60, it will move to minus 40. It is called as threshold. At that time, calcium also try to enter inside the cells, and then we get this part. This is called Q. Okay, so suddenly what happens when the negative side becomes 0, or it tried to go positive side? There are I forgot to tell, there are some gates like semi-permeable membrane. So some gates will allow only sodium, some gates will only allow calcium, so some will allow only potassium. So they are depending on voltages. So at particular voltages, some gate will start working, and after some time it will stop working. So in between that range only the gate is working. But what is going to happen at plus 10 volt, the cycle is getting reversed, because now as calcium is leaving the surface, so positive ions are leaving the cell, it is going again towards negativity. So this will start your contraction of this ventricle. Okay, so when you can see in atrium, there are very less area is there. Okay, ventricle is larger muscle than atrium. So what is happening, when it contracts, we get maximum voltage. Okay, so this is R wave. So these are names given biologically, and again it will get to again back to minus 60, okay, where it was started. So this part from P to Q and up to half of this R, this part is called as depolarization. Whenever the potential in the cell, inside the cell, is moving from negative to positive, we will call it as a depolarization. And after that, when the cycle is reversed, or when the voltage is starting to become negative, that time we will call it as a repolarization. So all this cycle, you can see this is all cycle is happening less than 1 second. Okay, we can see there are 2 cycles. So we know that normal heart, the healthy heart, has 72 heartbeats per minute. So all this is completely called as a heartbeat. So one heartbeat is from P, Q, R, S, and T again here. Okay, and then there is some time lag. Okay, so this time lag is for the valves to shut. Okay, so what is going to happen? There is some delay in between the contraction of these atriums and the contraction of this ventricle. Why? Because if they both are simultaneously contracting, then the blood will not come inside the heart, right? So in order to pump the blood, they should be contracted at different times, and that's why there is some delay in between the 2 contractions. Okay, this was some biological part, but there is some physics involved in this. So because of this, as I told, there's some exchange of ions. There are all positive ions we just saw. There is sodium ion, there is potassium ion, there is calcium ion. All the ions are getting exchanged, and therefore there is some current flowing inside the body. So that current is not very much. It is just some 100 nanoampere. This is not much current. We regularly deal with the milliamperes. Compared to that, this is very, very small current, but still we have some current, and therefore we have some electromagnetic field generated by the heart. Okay, and that is the reason behind this magnetism of our body. Not just a human body, any living things will have some current flowing in it, and therefore they will have some electromagnetic field. So if you see there is some voltage going from negative to positive and again positive to negative. So there is cycle of electric field, and therefore this field is also AC field. I mean the heart is not creating DC field because there is variation, continuous variation. So magnetic field will also vary. But the thing is, current is going in one way. Blood is circulating. I mean the blood is entering and leaving. It is not coming backwards. So blood is not having AC cycle. It is DC cycle. And that is kind of thing which makes us permanent magnet. Okay. Not huge magnet, because this is very tiny current. I will show you quickly what part of our body creates what kind of magnetic field. Brain also produces magnetic field, but the field is very less as compared to heart. The main source of our magnetism is the heart. Okay. So other than this, there is also role in maintaining temperature. Okay. So I will start with Kirchhoff's law of radiation, black body radiation we study. So we know here A is the coefficient of absorbance and E is the coefficient of emission. Okay. So according to Kirchhoff's law, any body or any surface will maintain its temperature. How? It will whatever amount of radiation it will absorb, it will emit the same amount of radiation, right? So that is basically this law is telling us. Now there is an interesting fact. The room temperature we consider as a 300 Kelvin or 27 degree Celsius, right? But our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius or 310 Kelvin. So there is temperature difference in our body and at the surrounding. In the room temperature is different. It is less. This is general. It may vary from season to season, but it is different, and our body maintains the temperature at certain what do we say, at some higher temperature. It maintains that. So what do you think, why is it so? Whether our body does not obey the Kirchhoff's law, or whether there is something else is happening there. What do you think? Okay, I will ask another question. If there is some source of heat, how it maintains the temperature at some higher level? So for example, sun is some at very high temperature, and it is also releasing heat, but it still maintains the temperature, no? And it is constant from millions of years, right? So whether it is following Kirchhoff's law or not. So what is difference in between these things?
I think because of the some internal processes, na, and continuous internal process like fusion and all that thing, the sun is at that temperature, and
Okay.
up to that fuel is there,
Mhm.
it will give that heat. When that fuel is not there, then maybe the change in temperature will be there. But up to where the fuel is there, that process, internal processes are there, there is that temperature.
Okay. So basically what is going to happen when the body is at room temperature, we can say that it is absorbing the amount of heat, and the same amount of heat is emitted. But when there is a source is not absorbing any kind of energy, or even if it is absorbing kind of energy, then it will emit the same kind of energy. But that has nothing to do with the temperature difference, because it is the source is itself creating some heat, and it is that's why it is at some higher temperature. Okay, that's right. So what can be the source of heat generation in our body? Because as we have in front of our screen, there is a fact that our body has temperature higher than the room temperature. So what do you think, where is the source, or how the heat is generated in our bodies? Because if our body is at some higher temperature, then that must be acting as a source of heat, right? Otherwise it will lose energy, and it will be as same as the surrounding. But as it is not at the same temperature. Okay, Ravi.
Maybe due to the flow of the blood inside the body,
Okay.
and it there is also a high pressure flow, so that may rise some temperature in our body.
Okay. Yes, anyone, Aman, what do you
I
say?
think that the mechanical processes we do, and because of that processes, I think it is coming out.
Yeah, mechanical process means walking or swimming, like that.
Yeah, like any process which require muscle, all that things.
But when we are sleeping, we don't have any such kind of actions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in that case also, our body temperature is much higher than the surrounding.
Maybe at that time also some internal processes are going out,
Okay.
like brain or heart, and like Ravi said, the motion of the blood. So all that thing continuously going on, and that thing create the heat.
Okay. Yeah. So I was also thought the same, because I don't know what is the source. I was also thinking on that. So I also found that okay, there is some message. He's saying that humans are warm-blooded organisms. Okay. So, but how the blood is getting warm? That is also a question. Okay, so both answers Ravi and Aman gave are almost close. I mean, they are correct. So we know if there is current flowing, as we discussed, there is current flowing. So as the current has some magnetic effect, it will also have some heating effect. We know this famous equation, Joule's equation, I square RT is the heat produced because of this current. So there must be some current flowing, and there is some internal resistance of our blood vessels or internal body parts, right? That is producing the heat inside our body, and that has to come out. Okay. And that's why there is one more interesting fact related to this is we can only see the visible spectrum, but there are some animals which can see our air spectrum, like mosquito or like snakes. They can only see. Okay, some of the animals can only see the IR spectrum. They cannot see visible range. That's why they cannot distinguish between colors like snakes. Okay, anyway, so these creatures can detect the IR spectra, and our body, you can see the body temperature is 310. And if you can relate this with Wien's displacement law, lambda maximum into T is constant. You can see the lambda is lying in between the infrared region. So we are emitting the infrared light all the time from our birth to our death, right? So we all the time emit this infrared light. I don't know whether it is bad luck or good luck that we cannot see that IR light. Okay, so but we are producing that, and the production of this heat or this IR spectra is because the blood is flowing and there is some current flowing inside our body. That is very slow. That is very low. That is not much. What we say? That is not much of heat is generated, or there is no much temperature differences there. But I would like to share one interesting fact about this generation of heat. Our body. Okay, here is one question for you again. So our body produces heat per second around, I guess, 100 watt. Okay. So our body produces, if our body produces 100 watt per second, you can see our filament bulb of 60 watt can give good amount of visible light. So why our body cannot give this visible light? Why it is only in the infrared region? What do you think? It has higher power generation than the bulb. Still we cannot emit light, visible light. So what do you think? Why is it so? If you in very dark nights, if you can in your room, you can see after some time you can see some things. Okay, so there is some light is there. We don't know whether it is coming from our body or not, but there is some light. Maybe because the black body radiation spectra is peaking at infrared, but there can be still some region where it enters in the visible region. Don't know. Okay, so what do you think? Why the this our human body or any animal, we will say, cannot produce visible light? Okay, what do you think? How the light, visible light, in case of filament bulb, is generated?
Due to atomic excitation and de-excitation.
No, excitation, de-excitation happens in case of electronic spectrum. This is not electronic spectrum. This is a black body spectrum.
I think using Wien's displacement law, you
Yes,
can
yes.
answer this phenomenon. I don't know the phenomena right now.
Right.
But
So-
we
Eugene, I
can-
think, I think because of the current, that filament is heating up,
Correct. Huh.
and because of that heat, it glows and gives us that light or that heat.
Okay. Yes. So heating, first heating starts, and then it starts emitting the light. Okay, and then it enters into the visible region. So if our body is continuously circulating the blood, yeah, there is some constant current is flowing inside our body. So there is always heat is providing to our body. So why we cannot enter in the what we say visible region? Why we are still emitting the infrared light? Yes, Aman.
I think that current is not enough to create that light or that wavelength. We require
But we are
high.
producing, yes, I know, but we are producing more heat. We are producing
Yeah.
100 watt instead of the bulb is just has 60 watt. So compared to that,
Yeah.
we have more heat generated. So there is no, now there is no question of what is current. We have heat, and why we are not entering in the visible region? That's the question.
Actually, it's a very good question, but I don't know.
Okay, think. Everyone can think on this. We have heat with room temperature. Can you elaborate? What do you mean by that? The bulb will also have heat with room temperature. I don't know what your bulb is in vacuum. Okay. So how does that make difference? So even if the bulb is in vacuum, the temperature is the same as the surrounding temperature inside the bulb. There is a concept of radiation temperature. So in our regular what we say room temperature or surrounding, we have temperature because we say that the molecules are vibrating and their kinetic and average kinetic energy is related to temperature like kT or 3/2 kT. We know that. But in case of vacuum, we don't have molecules, but still we have radiation temperature. It is called as radiation temperatures. Just like our regular Boltzmann molecules, like gas molecules, we have their bosons. So we can relate that also. So the temperature inside that vacuum also same as a room temperature. So now tell me, what is the difference in between the bulb and our body? It is very good that all of you are thinking. Okay, I will give you one hint, and then everyone can tell the answer. It is related to the surface area. Now you can tell.
You can.
Huh.
As you said, the surface area. The surface area of the filament is very low as compared to our body.
Correct.
So in our body, we require more amount of energy to distribute to complete that surface. As compared to filament, it doesn't require that much amount of surface. It is very compact thing.
Correct.
And because of that compactness, it will give power instantly because it didn't require that distribution of that energy.
Okay. So Darshit is saying it means related to intensity, that is power per unit area. Okay. So yes, that is correct. So in the filament, what is happening? The power is less, I know, but the area is also very small compared to our body. Our body has huge area compared to that. And what we can say, we have more surface area means we are radiating more heat. So if we are radiating more heat, there is no chance of increasing temperature. So if temperature is increased, you can see the filament has temperature in thousands of Kelvin, right? So in when the bulb is started, at that point there is no just glow of visible light. It starts from what do we say air region. But as the temperature reaches at some higher level, why temperature reaches at some higher level? Because there is source, but there is no more emission, right? Emission is much less because of the less surface area. In case of our body, the body has a large surface area, so it can the heat can eject very easily outside our body, and that's why we cannot emit the light. Otherwise we would not need any batteries or any sources, right? We can just walk at night also. Anyway, that was fun part. Okay, so we have seen two things: the effects of electric current inside our body. So or any current has two effects: a magnetic effect and heating effect. So inside our body, what happens as a magnetic effect? Our body or parts of body, instead of whole body, we can say parts of our body acts like a magnet. Some of them will be permanent and some of them will be alternating. Okay, we will see that which is one and which is one. And there is one heating effect also, which is responsible for maintaining our temperature and radiating air waves. Okay, and as we discussed, because of the large surface area, we cannot emit the visible light. Okay. Okay, so far so good. So these are magnetic fields and the strengths, comparative strengths. So Earth has some 0.4 Gauss or 0.3 Gauss magnetic field, which is steady. Earth is permanent magnetic. There is no alternative magnetic field there. No AC magnetic field. It is direct, steady magnetic field. Now compared to this, you can see here are the lung particles or the lung which is producing 10 raised to minus 5 Gauss. This is in the Gauss. This is steady. Now you can realize why our body head as act as a north pole. Okay, because you can see here human heart is RMS, it is alternating, so it has no contribution in the permanent magnet. Because even if you sleep with your head towards north or you sleep in the south, there will be no difference because of the human heart has produced the magnetic field, because anyway it is alternating, right? It has some RMS value. Okay, so then there is some you can see here there is a human brain is also there, it also produces. So this is very very small magnetic field is there, okay, compared to Earth, but still there it is, and it may affect us in very what we say, in very little amount. So I don't know whether the thing is very exact that we started with the whether we should sleep in north south position or not. That was the question. So I'm not sure how much it will affect, but sure there will be some effect, and in long term we can see that effect. But for 1 day or 2 day if you sleep in that position, I don't think there will be much effect, and I don't think that it is really a reason to worry. Okay, because see, if you are traveling, you don't know which direction is which, right? So in that case, you have to sleep wherever you can sleep. So don't worry about if sometimes you can sleep in that position, but try not to do if we know that there is some little effect. So we can sleep in the exactly opposite position. We can sleep with our head towards south and our legs towards north. So that will be much more relaxing for us, maybe. So this is what I got. Okay, so I don't know how much of this is correct, but still that is something, that is not zero. Darshit has asked me to tell some applications of this, so I have added this slide. So there are two types. Okay, first of all, I have written bioelectromagnetism. So it deals with the electromagnetic fields related to our biological things, living things, or organs inside our body. So then, but there is a difference. Okay, so there is biomagnetism, which we just discussed, how the current is producing the electric field, or the heart is producing electric field, and then there are some current flowing, and then there is some magnetic field. That comes under biomagnetism. And magnetobiology is another branch of biology which is dealing now with external magnetic field. I mean, they are dealing with the things which can be applied from external. Magnetic field can be applied from external, and then how the body responds to that. So that is related to magnetobiology. So it is also related to the heart attack. So that comes along. So heart attack is happening because of main two reasons. The first thing is the blockages. So when there is some blockage in our blood vessels, then the heart will find some pressure, and it will not able to pump the blood regularly, or in what we say, in healthy manner. So that is one thing. And there is one thing which is related to physics. I want you to tell that is fibrillation. I will share you the one video. I will share you 5 videos related to these topics. One of them is by Dr. Walter Levin. You might have, some of you have seen that. He was talking about magnetism of body, and then he talked about heart attack. So I will share that video. So in this region, in this right atrium, as I told, there are some pacemaker cells. So they start the current. Okay, they start the voltage variation, and then again the current passes from upper side to the lower side. So the pacemaker cells are which we call as SA node, sinoatrial node. They are automatic cells. What does that mean? They don't need any external supply of energy. They just start by themselves. They start automatically, and that property is called as atomicity. So, by varying the chemical potential inside the cell, they can control this potential. They start this SA node. Okay. So when this pacemaker cell don't work properly, okay, so that is called a fibrillation. So in that case, our heart starts pumping in irregular fashion, kind of just we say that there is time lag in between atrium and ventricle, but sometimes it starts simultaneously, sometimes it do not pump, or it do not contract, or so there may be some problems because of this uh, fibrillation is the non-working case of the pacemaker cells. They don't generate the enough voltage, or they cannot regulate the voltage they should do, right? So that can be the case, that is also a case of heart attack. Okay, so fibrillation is related to physics because it depends on the current and the voltages. So for such heart patients, you might have heard this pacemaker, external pacemaker they attach, okay, to the heart patients. So what does that do? It controls the voltage of that pacemaker cell from outside, from the external pacemakers. Okay, so we attach that pacemakers. Okay, so not about this pacemaker cells, AC and DC. This is a separate point. I want you to discuss, or I want you to think on this. You might have seen, many of you might have seen in the movies that when the heart fails, maybe any reason, they apply some external shock. You might have seen the Shivaji the Boss movie, or any movie in which they supply the external shock. So what do you think? Will it be AC or DC? This only works if the heart is failed because of fibrillation. If that is failed because of the what we say blockages, then it will not work. Okay, Parnita is saying it is AC. Okay, what do you guys think? Why do you think it is AC? So whether it is AC or DC, you can come up with some reason. Otherwise, someone will say it is DC, someone will say AC. So one of them will be correct. Yes, we got DC. Someone is saying AC. So I will tell you one of you is correct. So who and how is the question? Have you seen in some movies or not? Okay, so if you cannot say whether it is AC or DC, I mean, what will be the reason for being AC or DC? You can think in the opposite way. Why it will not be AC, or why it will not be DC? You can think like that, so that you can get the answer. Maybe. Don't worry, because this is a different topic. You need not to know the exact answer, but still we can think on that. Now look at this graph. What will happen if I apply AC supply, and what will happen if we apply DC supply? So I am talking about different, na? Pacemaker cells are different. We apply pacemaker cells which regulate the internal voltage. That is AC. But I am talking about when the heart fails, it stops pumping, and then we give external shock. Obviously, within some time, not exceeding that time. So in that time, we give shock to restart the pump, that is heart. Pacemaker, external pacemaker is AC, that is correct. So it regulates the voltage. But okay, I will tell the answer. The solution for fibrillation is DC current. I will tell you why. Okay, what happens? The heart is already doing some irregular things, and we are giving some AC current again. So whatever we current give, it is also changing, right? So it is not useful. So in case of DC, what happens is, when we apply DC, it is around 3000 volts. Okay, the maximum voltage is 3000 volts. I will tell the reason also why we apply high voltage there. It is sufficient to stop the working of heart. Okay, if you apply the regular to a regular person, it will stop the working of your heart, because each point is now at the same potential. DC potential we are applying, we are not applying AC. So everything is at DC. If you observe carefully, they apply shock for certain time, not long time. Okay, so what happens, they immediately remove the what we say, the pants, shocking pants. So what was the procedure they do, they apply shock for short time of period, so that everything is zero now, there is no voltage, and they expect now the synovial node will work, or these cells we have talking about, the pacemaker cells, internal natural pacemaker cells will work. Okay, if they start working, then the person will survive, then the person will live, otherwise he will die. So that is not 100% sure that it will work. Okay, so in that case also, even if we apply shock, in that cases also, person may die. The what we say, functioning of heart may stop permanently. But in some cases, pacemaker cells can start doing their regular working, and in that case, the heart will start functioning as it was functioning before the heart was stopped. Okay, so we applied DC. So there is one more interesting thing. I don't know whether you are bored or not, because that is a little bit different thing I wanted to tell. So what do you think? Which one is dangerous for our life, AC or DC? If we are talking about the same voltages, I mean same DC voltage as the same VRMS for AC. You must have heard this or read this somewhere. DC, okay? People are saying DC. Good. Yes, he's saying AC. Okay. So if you people are giving some answers, give with some reason. Na? So if you are saying DC and someone is saying AC, then how? I don't know anything. Suppose I am non-physics person, and you want to convince me that it is AC or DC, whatever. So how you will convince me or any non-physics people? Yes, Ravi.
I think DC current is more dangerous because it is constantly at some potential. But in AC current, we have one cycle. So at some point of time, the value of current is 0. So I think we can save ourselves from AC current.
Okay, so you can think on this. Okay, there's some, because in AC we have time due to phase change. Okay, acha. AC changes manually periodically. Okay. Okay, so I will give one interesting example. I don't know the exact answer, whether it is DC or AC, but I will give you example which will lead you to think over this. We have capacitors, right? Capacitors block DC and they pass AC. Why they can pass AC? Because or why they can block DC? Because they are not in actual contact. There is some dielectric medium which will not let the current flow. But in case of AC current, the phase is changing, the magnetic field is changing because of the change in electric field, and the magnetic field can move without any medium, right? The electromagnetic wave transfers from the vacuum from the sun. So that's why the what do we say, the if the first part of the capacitor, the first what we call that plate, first plate of the capacitor is at certain potential, which is changing potential, then it will also change the potential of the second plate. Okay, so in that way the current will flow in capacitor. So now our body is also like a capacitor. I will tell you why. The resistance of internal body is very less. It is very less. So that is like a capacitor or like a plate of capacitor. But our skin has the resistance of some in some mega ohm, maybe 1 to 10. I don't know, remember exact figure, but it is in mega ohm. So if the DC voltage is quite small, you will not realize any shock. But if AC current is very small, even though it is 5 volt, if you take 5 volt DC battery and if you take 5 volt AC battery, you will realize that there is some current in AC. You cannot detect the current in DC probably because of your very high resistant skin. Okay, that's why we have to apply very high DC voltage. I just told you 3000 volt they apply for the shock for the heart patients. So that is very high because at very low voltages, your body will not respond. But as I told, in capacitor, like this is like capacitor, so current can flow inside our body, and our body, as I told, heart and brain all are working on AC. So if that AC is disturbed by the external AC, then there might be some risk. So that was my point. I don't know what is the exact answer. It may depend on the voltage. What voltage we are applying. And don't try this because these are equally what we say hazardous. What we say risky. So don't try this. It was just a topic of discussion. And the ECG, we discussed ECG. So ECG is also the we have seen this ECG. This is ECG. This we call as ECG, electrocardiogram. Okay, we take for heart patient. We doctor first take ECG to check whether the heart is functioning regularly or not. So this is called ECG, electrocardiogram. And as in the name, it is dealing with the electric field. Okay, we are not measuring magnetic field here. This is electric field. So we externally measure this electric field. Okay, so in for a regular patient, I guess they attach 12 electrodes to our body to get maximum voltage. Okay, so okay, I will stop here because it is already time. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
Thank you again for such an interesting talk, such an interdisciplinary talk. Like we all are physics people, but now we can say that yes, biology is related to physics, and all physical phenomena are related to our body too. So such a interesting talk. So we should take some questions from.
There are
I
some
think there are
questions in
some
chat
questions in
box.
chat box.
Where is the first question? AC change magnetic already we need AC to work our heart. Yes. Okay. What will happen if our heart voltage, frequency, and sodium is same? What will happen if our heart voltage frequency? Okay. So external. Do you want to say external frequency, right? Okay. So I will try to answer. Is there anything happens like resonance? Okay. Good. So what is going to happen in our regular AC circuit? It is very what do we say? Regular current is flowing inside the wires. Like for example, if we are talking about our regular current, which is 230 volts, then and 50 hertz. So the 230 volt is peak is exactly 230 or 220, let's say, and then down also 220, and then it moves on. But in case of our heart, it is not exactly AC. You have seen the pacemaker. Okay, let me share my screen again. So it is not exactly AC. It is alternating, but not exactly what we can apply. But as you are telling that if we apply the same frequency and same, then it might help us. Like you told about the resonance, it may help, but I don't know if there is some mistake in that, then it may be harmful. If we apply multimeter between 2 points of our body, will we get some voltage reading? Yes. Okay, what happens is this voltage is in millivolts. Okay, maximum voltage we get is 2 millivolt. So if you see the ECG, so what they do, they connect our body to various electrodes so that we can get maximum voltage. Okay, so what happens, like we are connecting different batteries. We cannot measure with single multimeter. We cannot measure because it is very less. Maximum voltage we can measure outside is 2 millivolt. So if you can measure, I don't remember exactly what we used to do, but in our childhood days, there are some people who used to take some meter, I guess multimeter, and they used to touch the tongue, and there was some fluctuation in voltage. I don't remember exactly what was the experiment, but the voltage is very less, and maybe you can get hold one electrode in your, not electrode, the what we say, one wire, positive wire of multimeter in one hand, and in second hand you hold another. You might get some little voltage if your multimeter is very good sensitive. It has, if it has some good sensitivity, then probably you might get. We can do this thing.
Even we are check our battery cells by touching our tongue, so we can check the
No,
battery.
I don't remember the exact what was the experiment that.
No, experimenting. Even if you want to check the cell is
Mhm.
working or not,
Mhm.
we touch with our tongue and
Hmm.
hence the current.
Even if I have seen some electricians, they do not wear anything while they are working with some electronic circuit, because that current is very low. The current is or the voltage is below 5 volt, na? So in that case, they don't even care. I mean, that is harmless. Okay, if we touch the positive wire of probe. I don't know what is CRO. Oh, CRO. Sorry, CRO probe. Okay, okay. If it has a positive pair of, okay, yes, CRO is also very good. Instead of multimeter, it will give more sensitivity. Yes, that's a good point. But I'm not sure whether we can give AC or DC. I guess, yeah, if it is DC outside, because we should know where these points are. Otherwise, if as I shown, lungs will deliver you the DC supply. So where you are connecting the your electrodes, that is also different. Okay, Ravi is raising the hand. Yes, Ravi.
In your initial slide, you discussed that our Earth's magnetic field affects our body, right?
Yeah,
Earth's magnetic field.
yeah,
But Earth's magnetic field is very, very less compared
yeah.
to another magnetic field that we are producing in our laboratory, especially
Right.
near the accelerators and tokamaks.
Mhm.
So I wonder that if we are inside the tokamak and
Mhm.
magnetic field is on, so does it affect our body somehow, or can we feel it?
Yes,
Means
in
at
some
that
cases,
time
yes.
magnetic field is very, very high.
Right. So it may affect, yes. But as I shown, the magnetic field of our body is very less. Even if there is a research, okay, about the electromagnetic waves the phones and laptops are emitting. So people are also concerned about this kind of waves. They also affect our electromagnetic field, or field of I mean the field created by our body. So definitely those high magnetic fields will affect our body. But as I told, the effect will be less because our magnetic field is very less. But
Yes,
I'm sure there will be some effect.
I think radio wave also creating some damage
Right.
because I watched some post near the that, radio wave tower.
Mm-hmm.
Non-ionization radiation.
Right.
So maybe
So
there is
there
some
will be
effect.
some effect on our body.
And even it is very wonderful that some animals like and birds like pigeons also sense that
Mhm.
field,
Yes, yes,
magnetic field.
yes. Actually, some of the birds they which navigates from
Yeah,
one location to another, they are so they can sense the magnetic field instead of the geometric pole. We talk about the geometric north pole and geometric south pole, but
yes,
they use the magnetic pole because they can sense the magnetic field, and according to the field line they can travel from, let's say, from Saudi Arabia to India. Some European birds also come to India, so they follow
yes,
the magnetic field lines. I mean, I heard that. I don't know whether it is how much true it is, but yes, they
yes.
can
I also
sense.
heard about that.
Yes,
And
so that
also
is very interesting. Yeah.
there is one Hollywood movie named The Core,
Okay.
which is also a good
Yes,
movie.
yes, yes.
It
I
deals
haven't.
with that Earth magnetic field. So watch it.
Acha, the core. Okay. I hope you all enjoyed and you find this very fascinating. As in the last Sunday's uh, session, ma'am also talked about little bit about the biophysics, and she also said that she was very awkward kind of thing with biology. I was the same, but I found this interesting when I started learning these things. I started so even if I am not what we say specialist or the experienced person in this field, I wanted to share this because it is very interesting and we can discuss these things, and that's why I put this topic instead of any of my topics. Yeah, thank you all for your patient listening and interactions.